All right, this is session 11 of Band of Blades. We have a new set of missions for Duresh Forest. I see, Commander, you have listed our priorities. So just to go over those really quickly, it looks like Grasping Mountain will be our primary, Flying Wing will be our secondary, and Western Hawk we are going to be unable to do because there are not enough troops in the Legion to deploy them while keeping the camp safe. So this is also where, Commander, you should have intel questions.
Yes,
How much intel do you have currently?
great question. I have
Take a look, see.
two intel.
You have two intel. So I believe that gives you a 0 intel question, a 1 intel question, and a 2 intel question. When
Information. No, that's not it. There's questions here somewhere.
And just to remind folks, while looking over those, Grasping Mountain, Reclaim the Holy Spear. So the twin gods of Aldermark were part of the war. Mattiar the Smith and Gerholtz the Hunter. We've seen a few of their shrines around already, particularly Gerholtz. Um, but the two are always chosen as a pair, and they usually come from twins, which is why twins are something of a holy appearance in Aldermark. Um, and usually what happens is when they get chosen, one of the first things that Mattiar does is he makes a relic, a divine, holy item, usually for his brother to wield in whatever situation they've been chosen for. In this case, it was to try and fight the Cinder King. So in this instance, Gerholtz, or rather his chosen, which is also, they're kind of the same thing. It seems like this is one of the gods that sort of like come down and, much like the Horned One, sort of basically take over the body of a mortal. So Gerholtz wielded a spear made by his brother to deal with a blight-maddened beast, which is called the Cacophony. This is a famous beast from Duresh Forest. Um, the forest here in the middle of Aldermark. And in fact, this beast is so famous that it is inscribed on the seal of Aldermark. Um, and currently, or I guess before the breaking of one of the two chosen, uh, the beast was pinned to a tree to keep it from rampaging. Now this spear is very powerful. If anyone or their shadow is hit by the spear, they're rooted in place. And well, that might be useful for various things that the Legion needs to do. If nothing else, it's a very powerful spear. And so the commander has decided, it seems, that it is worth deploying a squad out into the forest, the spooky, spooky forest, to try and reclaim this spear. However, upon doing so, there's going to be a really nasty beast to deal with. So deal with it, and bring back the spear. Sounds simple, right?
Yeah, no problem.
No problems. Nothing bad can happen here. Uh, Commander, do you have some questions for me?
Yeah. What is the highest threat we can expect?
3.
Three. Um,
Which is on par with Ache and Silver are the other, and the Hag, but we haven't really seen the Hag. You haven't encountered the Hag directly in a primary mission, but that should give you an idea of like how scary it can be.
what's useful to bring on this mission?
Oh, that's a good question. Um, Running shoes, brown pants. Um, let's see. Let me check the mission summary. So it says it's blight-maddened. Um, we know that Blackshot has an effect on the undead, and we know the undead is basically a form of what generally is referred to as blight.
Mm.
Um, blight is also like what happens if you take too much corruption. Um, so I think it's safe to say Blackshot would be good to bring along. Or rather, I think it's safe to say that this thing is probably vulnerable to Blackshot. Um, other than that, uh, if it spits acid, for example, you probably want some form of shielding.
Mm.
Um, it is said to have, if you look at the seal of Aldermark, which I don't have a picture of because it doesn't exist, but let's assume it did. Um, it has multiple heads. And anytime I feel like I see a beast with multiple heads, chances are one of them at least might spit acid. So I think that might be a situation you have to deal with. And yeah, in that case, I think something that could shield you might be useful.
Cool. And what is the main weakness of the undead's position on this mission?
The main weakness of the undead's position here. I don't think you're actually going to be dealing a lot with the undead in general. So their main weakness is that they just aren't, they're just not that much of a presence.
That's good to know.
But I feel like that's not a satisfactory
I mean,
answers.
that's actually really good intelligence.
Okay.
We don't need to worry about anything but the thing. That's
It's not that you don't need to worry about anything, because again, on a more macro scale, we know that Breaker's influence is already beginning to be felt through this area.
right.
We have this thick fog that's rolled through, and anytime you have thick fog or storm clouds, you can assume that Breaker is somehow in the vicinity and influencing things. But I guess yeah, their main weakness here is that they have not had enough time in Duresh Forest to really set up like the trees, the special trees that like make burned.
Right.
They haven't had enough time yet. They are working through this forest. Oh, there we are. Um, oh, that's not really a weakness though. I was going to say that the scary entities of this forest, because this is a dark fantasy magical forest, are just as hostile to the undead as they are to you. And actually, I am going to say that that is their weakness. That's not going to remain true forever.
Right.
We know from previous encounters that Breaker has the ability to basically hex animals, and that might include magical monsters. But assume, at least to start with, that most magical monsters or horrible things that go bump in the night, at least among the living and the monstrous, are probably as prone to attack undead forces as they are the Legion. Um, yeah. All right. Are those answers all satisfactory?
Yeah, that's great.
Awesome. Um, then let's see. I think anything else before we get into it? Spymaster doesn't do anything because we don't have like Igrid. All right. Let's talk engage. Well, Marshall, I think we look to you. Uh let's get our primary and secondary deployments. Grasping Mountain is an assault, so you will want to send a heavy or a sniper. And Flying Wing is also an assault, so you will want to send a heavy or a sniper. Um, Remember, you have two heavies, one sniper, and also there is a special rule with Duresh Forest that states that you take -1 to engagement rolls for missions that do not have a scout assigned to them. Bearing that in mind, I would love for a squad on the primary and secondary, and as many specialists, well, up to 2 specialists, or 3 if you're sending a medic as attaché on any of them. Also remember, with assault missions, if anyone starts out the mission wounded, I believe you suffer -1 to the engagement roll as well. Yes, if any legionnaire starts the mission wounded.
Okay. Let's see. Well, who do we want to send on our primary? Do we want to see Ritter again, or do we want to see Voyes in action? We want to see Voyes? Sure. Let's send Voyes on the primary. And let's see, our sniper. Okay, actually, let's send Voyes on our primary together with our scout, so we don't get that -1. And then I will send our sniper on our secondary, because the sniper's not hurt, so we don't get a -1. And then I think Ritter's just gonna have to stay home, which I'm sure he's gonna love. Because you just need like one of the two, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Then we'll send the sniper on the secondary and Voyes and our scout Silver on our primary.
Fantastic.
And
what
squat wise, let's send our soldiers on the secondary, because I feel like a worse engagement roll in a primary is less bad because you can kind of recover from it because you're playing it. So I don't mind starting worse in that one. So let's send our soldiers on the secondary, and well, do you guys want to play the Ember Wolves that you played last time? But I'm clicking on them and I see that none of them are statted out, and I don't know if people want to do that now, or if you prefer playing with characters that have stats.
Either way's fine by me.
I don't mind
Yeah.
taking a few minutes, stat them out.
Sure, that might be fun then. Although let's see. Because if anybody's wounded,
They shouldn't be. The Ember Wolves haven't been used in a. The
yeah,
only way
I'm
they would
looking
take
at
wounds.
the ghost styles to see if we can use them to upgrade some people. But you know what? Why not? Let's play the Ember Wolves and get some newbies. Yeah, let's send the Ember Wolves on the primary. And then you can pick whoever you like, because I don't know these characters. Y'all made them. I'll play the scout because that's my character. Who wants to play Voyas? Who wants to be my favorite?
It's a lot of pressure, but I could
So
try.
much pressure. Okay, and then I don't know who you guys played last time of the Ember Wolves, but who do you want to play, Mark?
Let's see. I'll take Adhikar again. That's fun.
Well, I guess that is the only drawback to if I'm playing Voyas, because I did like playing Quick Eye, but I think that's fine.
I'll take Marcher Lord again. He was fun. He's the best.
I'm only 40 minutes in the session because I wanted to like watch it and then do the write-up on the characters the way that you had played them all, but it was like I'm getting too distracted. Then it was time for the session. Yeah, that sounds good.
Fantastic. Yeah. feel free to take a few minutes. Rookie players, stat out your rookies to your liking. I've
There
linked,
are oh yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say I've linked in chat. If you want to use any there's a couple suggested starting builds. Use them for inspiration if you want, or ignore them at your leisure. But yeah. So I think I owe you 2 new rookies because I think we moved them over, and I just think I never put 2 rookies back in Shattered Lines. I think we're at a full squad, if I remember correctly, or full Legion. Did I? And then of course, also remember select your load and your starting utility equipment. Oh, Quartermaster, will you be spending Black Shot to grant an extra die on the engagement roll and equipping everyone with Black Shot?
Yes.
All right, then everybody automatically starts with both of those boxes of Black Shot full. On top of the load that you get to select.
And we're not worried about stealth on this mission necessarily, or speed. We're going in to like fuck up this beast or not get fucked up by it, right?
Unless the idea is to, well, does the orders specifically say kill the
It
beast?
does not, no.
Oh no, it does say the Legion could use a weapon such as this, provided they can slay the beast.
Okay.
So I think I think unless your plan is to like draw it into some, massive ravine and do the Ace Ventura, maybe not Ace Ventura, what the tropic, drop it into a bottomless pit type strategy, then yeah, I don't think speed or stealth is particularly a concern here.
I think Audicar's going heavy then.
Yeah. Then I guess Voice is going in with a fine wrecking kit.
All right, that's gonna be super exciting.
Get wrecked.
Get wrecked. And yeah, nobody should have any. Voice hasn't been used yet, so Voice doesn't have any injuries. And Silver.
I tried to
Hue.
make Voice an insane resist machine. So those
Yeah.
I tried to get like all the mechanics for that, so I'm very interested to see if that works out.
Yeah,
or if that did not. Yeah.
If I'm reading this right, if Voice resists resolve on a desperate action to protect somebody else, he gets 3 extra dice. So
Yeah.
When you protect a squad mate, resist with +1 die.
and both Zemyati traits are about resistance.
+1 dice to resist desperate actions. There might be a touch overlap between resisting on desperate actions, because if you're protecting someone, I don't think you necessarily take the action. I could be wrong there. Let me look at the
Depends on
wording
the
of
action,
that.
I guess.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know if protect is a capital P term.
It is a act, like a God, I hate this game's terminology. It is a thing you can do, as in a thing that sparks mechanics. I guess though, I mean, so yeah, protect. You step into face a consequence that one of your squad mates would otherwise face. You suffer it instead of them. You may roll to resist it as normal. That as normal tells me that like if they were rolling a desperate action and you step in to take their consequences, then it sounds to me like, yeah, that would mean that your bold and your backup both apply. And I don't know, like I'm assuming this game doesn't do like a you only get +1. Like I'm assuming it's stacking. because it stacks in basically any other situation. I don't know if that's the way it's meant to be played, but hey, this game gives us very little guidance. So I'm gonna assume that it stacks, because why not?
We'll see.
Um,
Do rookies have heritage traits?
they do, yes, pick 2 if none have been picked. Unless you take the starting special ability every inch a ... then you
Yep.
get all 4 instead.
Did not take any starting abilities.
Could I take just a kid, but frame it as not a kid, but just the guy that will absolutely expect you to protect him?
Just a prince.
Just the best.
For the Marcher Lord,
Yeah.
the only reason I'm hesitating is because, like, I understand the tone that it's going for with just a kid and why you would get 1 XP for taking that hit. It's setting up like a, very specific sort of like cinematic trope. Whereas if you're taking it because you're an orate and you're just a pompous jerk,
I mean, we could argue that you get the XP for being like so, like the other person is so professional and dutiful that they're still helping
For
this
doing the work
absolute,
for him.
yeah, exactly, for helping this person who, from like the 5 sentences that I've heard of them, doesn't deserve it. But like you're like still doing your soldierly duties. I feel like that is appreciated in a military.
but
I
then
don't
why
feel like
wouldn't why wouldn't that
Archer,
apply to everyone though, is the question,
because they like because of the level of annoyance. Does that make sense?
I mean, I guess.
It's
Sure,
okay.
yeah,
I
I'll
have
I'll take it.
something else to
Go
use.
for it. Go for it. If that is the story that you want to tell with this character, then sure, go for it.
I'm just thinking right now. I'm still
Yeah.
weighing the options.
It also gets a little interesting because if this character by chance gets enough experience to promote, they lose just a kid. And the question becomes what changes in the fiction?
He's now high enough in the pecking order to not want to be seen as somebody to protect.
Sure, I'll buy it.
I am also considering every inch an all right, so
I'm taking every inch of Arton on this one. Dude. It's gonna be fun.
Every inch A is a really just fun, flavorful. A lot of the rookie abilities are just really full of flavor, but I think those 2 are some of my favorites. There's one thing I will say about this game is like sometimes some of this I really feel like they put a lot of love into, for as many special abilities as there are in the game, there are very few of them where I'm like, this either just this breaks the game in a unfun way, or like it's just not cool. Like they all seem really fun. Even home cooking is just like, say what you cook. Like this is just such a fun little detail baked into the move. Mind the pun.
Okay, car is ready to roll.
And let me know when your characters are made and your load is selected.
Going in heavy.
Going in heavy. I guess actually, Jazzy, are you ready to go? Then let's talk engagement roll. Before every engagement roll, we assemble the engagement roll for all missions by first asking the following: Are all on the mission oath sworn to the Legion? Yeah, they are. Unless you're bringing the Horned One along to do some fighting, but I don't think that's the case. So let's say, sure. You get 1 die for that. Did the commander spend 1 intel to give you advance information?
I don't think I'm going to this time.
Okay. So we're at 1. Is everyone on the mission a specialist or a soldier? No, you've got rookies. And then we get into the malices. Does any legionnaire distrust or not respect the leadership enough to obey orders on the battlefield? I don't think so. We haven't had, we don't have that awful dysynchronicity going on between our, between Ritter and one of the soldiers now, I think. Are required specialist equipment not on the mission? That's not true. We have required specialists here. And an assault mission. Did the quartermaster spend equip the legionnaires with black shot? They did. So you take 1 die there. And is any legionnaire starting the mission wounded? And I do not think that is the case. Voyus couldn't have gotten wounded because Voyus hasn't been deployed yet. And Silver's healed, and the Ember Wolves are all fresh. So you have a 2 die engagement roll. Oh, also I lied. Assault missions are also can also have a medic on them. Okay, you're in a controlled position when the action starts. Is anyone not ready to go? Anyone need a few more minutes? Cool. I might need 5 minutes just to like get my feet under me and get like descriptions like percolating in the head. Yeah, let's just go ahead and take a quick little 5 so I can get some descriptions percolating under the, in the head, and check my, rules and stuff. So take 5 and we'll be back here at about 13 past. All right, and we're back. Control position is so boring. But then I think it gives us an opportunity to actually focus on the introduction of these characters in a more relaxed way. So you all set out from the Legion. You have your orders. And I think the first thing, when the camera sort of fades in from black, we see the squad and your specialists just on the march. Oh, Voice will be the commander. Awesome. Thank you. We see the group of you walking by a Panyar village at the edge of this forest. Now, you had strict orders, sorry, no, you didn't have strict orders. You had advice from the locals to never step foot off of or into the forest where the sun does not reach. You're going to have to for this mission. But on the way there, you pass by this Panyar village at the very edge of, like, before the thickets and the trees and the foliage become so thick that no sunlight begins to reach the ground. And so I'd love for you to introduce your characters. If we have seen them before, if they're returning characters, tell us how they've changed since we've last seen them. And if they're new characters, or if we haven't seen them in this sort of arena before, introduce them, physical details as much as you would as you want to give. But then from everyone, I want to know what signs do you see? Do you notice that living on the edge of the last vestiges of sunlight have taken their toll on the local villagers here? Or what have they done to ward themselves from the effects of the magical forest.
I think most villages or even individual houses are surrounded by a ring of torches on pikes, and even so, in the like flickering glow that provides, the villagers have a deep sea creature kind of pallor.
I think similarly, like no one is ever without a candle or a lamp. If they don't have their hands free to carry it, they have fasten it onto.
I think they all wear like different arrays of colorful mushrooms as decorations rather than flowers. And I think it's sort of a symbol of things that do thrive in darker environments and that do not need the sun, maybe hoping that they can be like those mushrooms and continue to grow anyway.
I was thinking that we see that there are mushrooms growing on nearly every available spot of land on the side of trees. It's their main source of nutrient and protein. And it also makes a lovely musty kind of smell as you near the village.
Awesome. And yeah, let's go through one more time and just again, let me know who you're playing, and again, if they're returning, let us know how they've changed since since we've last seen them, or if we haven't seen them, then just describe them physically.
I'll be playing Marcher Lord Liam Reiter, and he has, as far as appearance goes, bearing not changed at all. What happened at the camp last, like water off a duck's back, as far as he wants anyone to think.
I think Adhikar is. We did not see him geared up before. We saw him kind of in camp taking care of what needed to be taken care of in any way. But now he is like full set, full armor. He's got his family swords that curve like a Kobesh kind of sword, and just like he is loaded up, just like serious. He's got there's I think it almost like mirrors the locals, like with these bright wrappings around him, complementing that, and he's just like standing tall and ready to go.
I think Voyus has been mostly, I guess, he's long past nursing his physical wound, but has spent the last several missions nursing a wound that's a little deeper. He's managed to dodge the haunting of, I'm gonna forget her name,
Elia.
Elia. Perfect, thank you both. But now he's determined to put that behind him. I think beard's grown in a little bit, and although he still has a little bit of that haunted dark circle look, his brow is more furrowed, he's more steeled for action, and I think the effect is amplified by the tower shield and heavy armor.
And I think ahead of everyone, already sort of, tilting her head, looking at this forest, trying to peer through its magical darkness. We've always seen Silver in like very light get up, but I think she too is like definitely primed more for action than necessarily being super fast. I don't think it's plate or anything. I think it's like letter and maybe like something that looks like scales over gauntlets and pauldrons. Almost giving her like a snake-like look when she's doing her head tilts. Um, and I think with the few missions that she's been on and seeing this forest, I think she's intrigued. Like cautious, not in a like, oh, this is exciting and real fun kind of way, but there is something about the magic and like the new discoveries that we keep making whenever we've encountered these new things and these undead that fascinate her, I think.
Fantastic. Voyus, as you pass by this village, I don't think at some point your eyes would have to dart in its direction to see these people in their little lantern anglerfish uh kind of outfits. Um why does one of them remind you of Elia? Or what about one of them reminds you of Elia?
I think it might just be the glow of the lanterns. It's dark, it's poorly lit, everything's flickering. And I think even though I've been walking through this dark part of the woods for a little while, uh, my eyes haven't fully adjusted. But something about the reflection of the reddish firelight against this person's hair, I think makes it look that sort of rich auburn red that I feel like was seared into Voice's memory at that table.
Um I think even though the Panyar and all Aldermani locals tend to not like the Legion, they see you as uh, relics of an old tyranny at best, and the Panyar might even see you as invaders in a way in this space. Um, I can't help but feel like there are a few young Panyar children who probably haven't even had their marks grow in yet, so they still are effectively just human. But yeah, a few kids, I think, run up to like whatever fence or dividing line, or even just to like a ditch at the side of the road, just to like watch the group of you pass with this sort of like childlike wonder of seeing people in decked out in armor and arms passing through. And then there is the forest barrier. You have to go into it at some point to get to your mission destination. Um, what do you guys do? March on in?
I think that's Voice's plan is there's only one way to go. No sense in trying to scout around it.
And given, um, so I know that on a mechanical level, there always needs to be a scout, or like it's better if there's a scout. Is the narrative level of that because of this darkness, and otherwise you'll get lost? Is that the idea?
I would assume so, yes. It might not even just be lost. It might be magical dark forest just has a bunch of magical monsters and I wouldn't call them traps, but rodents of unusual size, bogs that melt the flesh from your bones if you fall into them, or just general, quicksand in the dark forest, in the dark fantasy sense of quicksand, not actual quicksand, like just drags you down and suffocates you, things like that. It's just you would have to be more cautious. Even with heavy load, I think there is a speed element to every action the Legion undertakes, that I think a scout would normally assist at. So I guess you're a Panyar, like just go ahead and drop like what is a danger you've already like avoided so far.
Interesting. Um, I lost. Hold on. Where's our safety tool? Are we all okay with spiders? Okay, okay. Yeah, then I think so the way that tarantula hunt in life is they like kind of group up, and then when an animal comes, they like drop. So it'll kind of be like a rain of spiders. And I think that's what like would have happened. And I think, maybe like the non-Panyar, noticed like, okay, there's like a few more spider webs than I would expect, maybe, or like commented on it. But I think the way that you can sort of disarm such a trap or deal with that is I think Silver, because I think going around it would have been too difficult. So I think what Silver would have done is taken an arrow and like fired it through that area, sort of triggering the spider webs. And we just saw like in front of us just a black rain of spiders as they dropped and then skittered away, not finding prey and instead seeing these looming shadows of human beings. And I think they were like, not Sheila big or anything like that, but definitely like dark fantasy spider big, where they're just like way too huge, and even one of them would have probably been a problem. But then like being disoriented, scattering to the floor, and then just going off. And then I think it was just a matter of being very quick before they kind of get their bearings and get back up in their web and do that animal instinct of this is how I'm safe and how I'm going to win and there's no risk to me. I think we just all kind of scattered through with these spiders of the trees, like climbing back up into their webs, waiting for their next prey.
Marcher Lord, Liam, um, you feel a tugging at your sleeve. And one of these the bravest of the kids, I think you look down and there's this bright-eyed, not yet bushy-tailed, but give it a few more years, Panyar kid. And they say, don't go.
Liam's lip will curl into something that isn't quite a sneer because he has a bit more control than that, but it's the beginning of one. And he'll just yank his sleeve out of the kid's grasp and say, don't get underfoot.
This red-haired woman, Panyar, emerges, sort of like melts out from the sort of like foggy darkness of the village, and comes and puts her hands on the kid's shoulder, and as if to like looks up with you at you all with this like wide-eyed instinctual fear of soldiers. And she says, come, don't bother the soldiers, let them go.
It's perfectly all right. I understand your worry and your curiosity, but we're here to make these woods a safer place for everyone.
The kid shouts a little bit more earnestly as the woman begins to sort of like drag him off. Like, the monster's that way. The monsters will get you.
We're equipped.
Let's talk about navigating this forest. You're in a control position, but it is still dark and scary. Breaker's influence is still able to be felt here and is going to actually complicate your journey by issuing this heavy fog into the space that might distract you or walk you into some of these like bubbling uh pools of acid water or into more spider traps. Giant spider traps could continuously be a problem, as well as trees. Her animal spies could spot you. So first thing about dealing with this monster is getting to it. Um, is it just going to be like a brute force, just shove your way through all of these challenges?
I think we'd better scout ahead.
Silver can do that. Yeah.
Sure. Um, Fantastic. Let's go to the dice. Silver, how are you scouting ahead? Just give me a little narration, something to sink my teeth into.
Yeah, I think that little child's like screams are still echoing. Like that way's the monster. And I think Silver kind of tilts their head and says, and almost like I think she tilts her head almost like that's not a warning, but like a direction. Like that way is the supermarket. Um, so I think she kind of like looks into the forest and realizes that the child isn't wrong. That way is where the monster is, and that's where they're going. Um, I think we see, she holds up her hand as everybody sort of waits like at the edge, and I think she slips in just a little bit, hand on the bark of the trees and sort of feeling the whatever's happening with this magic between her fingers. And I think relying more because of its magical darkness and this fog that she's encountered a few times before. I think it's um more on not even necessarily sound, because we know that too gets kind of distorted, but it's almost like smell. Like like how the wind flows between the trees, between like where it's more dense, where it's less dense. And if there is a monster, an undead monster, they carry with them something unnatural, something that smells not of this forest. And I think that's what I'm trying to follow.
Sure. Um, Way I think this might work based on what you've described is a sort of because you're scouting ahead, right? You're just looking for a good route for the troops, right?
Yeah.
So I think this might be a setup action. And I think what we're rolling to determine is like the safety and sure-footedness of the path that you discover, which will translate into like position. But you begin because the engagement will begin thus in a controlled position. Um, how far are you ranging out ahead? Are you staying in eye and sound of the rest of the squad?
Um, yeah, if it's just a setup one, I don't think there's too much point in pushing it too risky.
Sure. Um, how does this forest remind you of home, of Panya? Panya.
Interesting.
They are both magical forests in a dark
Yeah.
fantasy world.
I was gonna say, I think it is the magic, but it's almost like it is the magic, but it's kind of like seeing like a cultural appropriation version of it. Like, like it feels like it kind of feels like home, but it also definitely doesn't.
We've been talking about the magic in these sort of vague terms, but do you have any ideas as to like how that magic manifests? Like, is it full on Pandora from the James Cameron Avatar, like just glowy dandelion blossoms just kind of floating around, or what's going on? What sells the magic here?
In this forest or in
Well, both. If it's the magic that reminds you of home,
Mhm.
or if you want to get super specific, then yeah, what about this is similar but feels like the cultural appropriation of magic back home? What's the actual magic like?
Yeah, I think the magic portion of it is I think the Panyar feel like all forests and all like plant life, they all have a soul in a sense. They all have that life and magic in them. But I think in Pena, that is something almost reactionary. Like it waits for you to be a part of it. And I think that is also maybe where, our traits come from, is these souls are, or these magics, these souls, however you want to call it, like they're open and connected and they can sort of bleed into each other, but it is very much a two-way street, which I also think is why the Panyar are so like, you're the invaders because you went into our forest and didn't understand it and you fucked it all up. But this forest isn't that gentle, like curiosity almost of wanting to change each other. It isn't like a part of the ecosystem where, the light makes the thing grows and then when it dies, something eats it. Like it all makes sense, but this forest is just taking, and it doesn't want you here. It wants you gone. It wants to take something essential from you. And then when it has that, it doesn't want to negotiate with it. It doesn't want to learn from it. It wants to take it and destroy it and keep it and hoard it. And I think that feels just almost like a taboo. Like that's not what the magic should be like. That's the worst thing you could do to it.
Last question, then we'll get dice on the table. How are you dealing with the lack of sunlight?
I think she's okay with it. I think having scouted in probably dark places before, I don't think that she cares too much. I think, yeah, owls are nocturnal. Um, I think, yeah, we see her sort of twist her head, like almost like an owl, sort of, doing that thing where they're catching the sound. I think her eyes are still open, but it's clear that she's not really relying on them to get anywhere. It's based on sounds and smells, and she doesn't seem too bothered, except by the fact that this darkness shouldn't be here, and it's caused by this magic that feels incredibly vile to her.
Fantastic. So yeah, let's talk dice. Scout feels like it makes most sense here. Tell me if you disagree, but you're in a controlled position. I was going to say that because of the darkness and fog, you're at limited effect, but I think with owl eyes and with owl-like traits, for you, and since it's just you in this action, I will leave it be at standard effect. And if you're fine with all of that, then yeah, Scout controlled standard. You can push yourself for an additional die or to increase your effect. Doesn't sound like anybody is helping you. And I don't know if I have a devil's bargain at this point in time.
Yeah, I think I'm
Um,
fine with controlled
sure.
standard and 3 dice. Let's see. Oh, did that roll?
I don't think so.
Oh, no. There we go. Okay.
Cool. The wonderful roll 20 dice roller continues to be the wonderful roll 20 dice roller.
They
So that's a
done it.
6. That's 6. Fantastic. Yeah. Describe another. I'm gonna lean on you, or actually, let's go to Mark. Give me a dangerous obstacle that uh that Silver clearly notices that you would have stumbled that the squad would have stumbled into had she not discovered it.
I think it's kind of like a unstable, like deadfall. Not necessarily a trap that has been set up by someone intentionally, but definitely like some sort of cluster, like just beyond a fallen tree or something. Looks like it is okay to step over, but when you do, it's it's not a pit, but it's a steep drop that's kind of obscured by these fallen branches.
Awesome. There's still the matter of getting through. This is a setup action, and so that translates to either increased position or increased effect for getting everybody through. But eventually, everybody's going to actually need to either maneuver or scout through this forest, unless you have other thoughts. But so long as you utilize Silver's scouting, you can get an additional either improve your position or improve your effect. It's my understanding of the setup. And you're already in controlled position, so there's really nothing to be gained there except for improved effect. So as long as there's a roll that's made to get everybody through, we'll just set it at great effect and say that that's all you need to do for this leg of the journey. But what's the plan here? Is it again, I'm not supposed to call for rolls, but the easiest thing would be, group maneuver. As long as everyone at some point participates. Or you can go in
My
phases.
my only thought, simply looking at stats, is it would be wonderful to take the intel from Silver and use that to marshal everyone into like particular you know, formation, marching order, something that really helps us get through intact. That said, that seems like even more setup rather than uh, a thing that
Uh,
pushes us through. So I don't know.
I mean, I could see it actually because I was wondering. I always wonder if it's martial or discipline that's like get the squad to do things, but it is martial actually. Marshal a squad or a larger group to action, command attention amidst chaos, coordinate fire on a target. Group coordination, I think, is fully valid. And I think in this case, yeah, it doesn't have to be a group maneuver role. If what the camera and what the story are interested in is Voya's taking leadership and guiding everyone through this forest with Silver's assistance, then we can resolve it that way. Or I guess if we want to make it more interesting, it could be like that's how the squad gets through. Um,
What do you think, rookies?
I think the danger here is either other unforeseen threats, stuff that's lingering in the fog, Breaker's influence, Breaker set a trap. Um, I don't want to be like, oh, a rookie just wanders off and does something stupid. But possibly something that, uh is as of yet unrevealed. But I'm fine with this. Yeah, let's call it a martial roll if that's the way you want to go for it. And um you are in a control position because of you're benefiting from Silver's uh setup action. It'll be with great effect. And I don't know if you can put yourself with for 2 stress. If one of the rookies wants to help coordinate, they can give themselves 1 stress and assist, I imagine. If one of them feels like they are particularly suited to leadership and coordination.
That sounds like Marcher Lord Liam.
Fantastic. Yeah, give us a little snapshot of like, how are you assisting here? What does that look like?
I think he has kind of slid into at least in his mind, a second in command kind of role. He's not, and if he were told he's not, he'd agree, but he'd still kind of treat the others like he is.
Before Liam was a legionnaire, well, I guess two kind of questions. Answer one or both at your leisure. One would be like, why did you sign on with the Legion? If you had all of this, because it sounds like the story that's being told here is Liam is from a position of command previously, or had subordinates or had people that he at least liked to order around. And so I guess like A, what position was that, or what in his pre-Legion past was that like? And B, yeah, why sign up with the Legion if you were in this position of power previously?
So I think in his previous life, the people that he did have power over were called servants, and his power came from money, and his the Legion presented an opportunity for more than that, which is Daddy's approval and glory, which is the same thing, pretty much.
Yeah, what prevented you from just automatically having those things? Did you have like an older sibling? Is there a sibling rivalry? Are you not the heir apparent of your daddy's estate? Or did you do something to piss off daddy?
No, I think there was an older brother, and that was the evident favorite and the one who everything came to easily, and Marcher Lord Liam is determined to get that kind of respect, that glory, even if he does have to work for it. And I don't think he's not incompetent. He just needs to be the most competent.
Last question, then we'll get dice on the table. And I realize that this is a lot for an assist, but this is like the first time that we're meeting Marcher Lord, other than, you know, a small little vignette. Did your opinion of the Legion and your ability to gain glory change after Aldermark Fields, when the Legion was reduced from over 1,000 soldiers to under 50? Another way to word this is, do you still have hope for your own survival?
That's a given. The fact that he's survived that is a sign that he will continue to.
That was the other
Also,
way.
yes.
Yeah, less competition would be, you know, another way of looking at that. Awesome. With that all in mind, I'm fully willing to give you to give Voyus 1 die for your assistance if you give yourself 1 stress. I don't know if I have any devil's bargains, but yeah, let's
Sorry,
you don't need
I
a
went
devil's
ahead
bargain anyways, because
Yeah.
this is the roll 20 dice roller, and you'll never get anything less than a 6, except the one time that like I'm like, oh, I guess I have to. There's no hard mechanics for a sub 4. So fantastic. You do it. Let's turn the camera on to Voyus now and ask, you know, I kind of have some similar questions. And again, other than the stuff that we've said about Voyus up till now, nothing about Voyus is canon. So feel free to answer these, you know, and make stuff up. But is this Voyus's, I'm assuming because of the martial die, this can't be Voyus's first time leading soldiers. But he's been living in isolation for an indeterminate amount of time. Does this feel comforting and familiar to him to get back into the swing of things, or are there lingering regrets? What's going through his mind?
I think it's like a flickering between feeling like as soon as he's not thinking about it, like the more dire the situation, the more comfortable it feels. And as soon as it seems like there's a moment for him to start thinking again, um, then he feels like a fraud. I think that's where we're at. I think it's I haven't been doing this for so long. Uh, what if they simply stop to follow my directions? Uh, what if I've lost what inspired my people to action? Um, but when things are moving, I think it feels correct.
Fantastic. Um, so yeah, that gets everyone through. I think we just have a quick little like travel montage of like avoiding this deadfall and Voyus and Liam sort of commanding everyone through. Um, Adhikar, I'd love to get some screen time for you as well. So, uh, what's what is this like for our every inch a Barton? Barta, my understanding is very sort of like uh Indian and Persian coded, a lot of deserts, badlands, mountains. You might be able to ride for, um, you know, days without seeing more than a handful of trees. And here you are in so many trees that you can't see the sun. Um, what's going through Adhikar's head right now?
Yeah, I think Adhikar is doing his best to not show. I don't know about shaken, but like how unnerved he is by like it's almost claustrophobic in the forest. Like he wrote out expecting like, cool, we're gonna go fight this beast and it's gonna be heroic and all that stuff, and now like creeping through the woods and ducking under branches and picking away through dangerous stuff there. Like he's still ready, but not as confident anymore, I think. But trying very, very hard not to show it.
And I actually am going to use like a sort of GM reaction here and say that like because you are in heavy armor and because you are a played character, um and because I don't know, I'm just feeling squirrely as a GM, um I do think you do get to a point where you have that awful sinking feeling quite literally as
Mhm.
you are you do you think you're in the front of the group at a car, or are you in the
Near the front.
back?
Yeah,
You're in the
probably near.
front. So that would be why is nobody else has stepped in this spot yet. You
Mhm.
go and step into a bit of bog, and when you go to lift your boot out, uh you realize first of all your leg is not coming back with you, and when you put weight back on it again, it's now up to your knee,
Mhm.
and you have begun sinking.
Yeah.
What would you like to do,
Swearing
or
and
what would anybody
yelling.
like to do?
Like this is, I think this broke whatever bit of composure he had. Just like, my goddamn, his leg is stuck. Someone pull me out. Like losing it a little bit.
I think instantly you start hearing laughter through the trees, cackling woman's laughter.
Mhm.
This is no ordinary bog.
Mhm.
I think if no one else leaps to action, I think Voyas takes his responsibility for the rookies pretty seriously, and we'll go to help.
You get about 2 steps from Mattiar before you realize that the ground is softening like beneath your own feet.
Oh no.
What do you do?
Good question. I use a shield as a surfboard.
Wait, what?
Not a straight
Okay.
up surfboard, not a straight up
Literally just thinking
surfboard,
the same
but a raft is a better word.
No, that's too cool an idea to veto, Kevin. Come on. Come on. Go full Legolas.
I mean, I guess to me there's a level of motion implied, whereas like, are you just putting the shield down like it's a jacket and a nice dainty lady can walk over it?
Well, yeah, I guess if there's not motion involved, it probably would just sink. I'm not really like clear on my fluid dynamics physics situation.
I mean, if the goal is just to like spread out
Yeah, wait.
your weight, sure. Yeah. I mean, I'm willing to let it fly. It's just the devil's bargain, or a consequence here might be you lose your shield. Your shield gets put under the bog. Who wants to take the lead on this? Adhikar, do you want to take the lead on getting yourself out, or Voyas?
That makes sense.
I'm fine either way. Alternatively, I guess, no, it's not really an action, so like resisting would be weird. Yeah, I don't think this is a thing you can resist.
Maneuver would probably fit best. Trying just like handling myself here.
Sure.
What is in a soldier's kit out of curiosity? Do we know?
Soldier's kit.
Right here,
we
there's a gear
have-
document.
Yeah.
Cool. I got it.
Soldier's kit.
Yeah. No ropes. Okay.
Bedroll, flint tinder, knife, lantern. Yeah, no rope.
Cool.
You
Yeah,
can
if
rip
this-
up the bedroll, maybe.
Mm.
And like,
Well, I guess first let's see what Adhikar's strategy is.
Yeah,
Yeah. What is the strat? Is it just going to be the grabbing hands and
grabbing the edge of the shield and
we're
kind of-
Titanicing it. Okay.
maybe we'll see.
All right. Let's see if Jack never lets go this time. Maneuver. So
fun,
here's the fun thing. Like, I feel like this can't be controlled position.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's
So it's got to be risky position.
risky. Yeah.
But to that end, there's nothing to be gained other than you get out of this. Actually, no, there is something to be lost though. So I'm going to call this standard effect.
Mhm.
I just don't know what, like, I think, yeah, you could be put in a worse position or something similar, or you don't get out fast enough and whatever magic is weakening the ground continues to spread and the squad begins to get caught up in the rest of the squad gets caught up in this mess.
Mhm.
Devil's bargain. Well, if Adhikar is rolling, then I don't want to do a devil's bargain of like Voyas loses the shield, although I think that's definitely something that can be lost. Devil's bargain, you shed enough armor that you just mark your armor.
You know, I'll just mark stress instead. Keep my muddy armor on.
Oh, okay. So you're pushing yourself?
Yeah, I'll just push.
Awesome. Voyas, you're easily in position to aid here. Or alternatively, it could be a group action if the both of you want to like treat this as a maneuver. And then what happens is if we take the higher roll.
Just helping is probably going to work out.
Okay.
Fine. Yeah.
Yeah, Voyas just mark a stress and you get an additional die. Although wait, if you get help, yeah, I think you can still get you can still get a die from pushing yourself. Yeah, you can get both.
Yep.
All right. I don't know if there's anything else we need to. Yeah,
That's
it's a risky standard.
I got a 4.
Of or
Oof.
what would be the more interesting consequence here? I think the consequence here is that you are going to have to mark your armor. If you want to resist that, it would be a I think
Prowess.
and marking your armor in this case is just you have to shed enough of it to pull yourself out of this that it's effectively gives you no mechanical benefit.
Yeah. so therefore
Um
resist that.
or you can resist
Yeah.
with prowess, or voice can protect you, but I don't know what
Ooh.
that looks like here unless it's like voice pulls you up and then like himself has to extract himself from the quicksand.
I've got 4 dice in prowess. I think I can do that.
Oh, wow,
So
yeah.
he says.
We'll see. Let's go. There we go. No stress. Totally fine.
All right. That was risky. That could have killed you.
I know.
That could have killed you. You're a rookie, buddy. You're playing with fire.
I'll take it.
But of course, this is the roll 20 dice roller. So who am I to doubt the sixes rolling in? Fantastic. If either of you want to give a little more narration of like what this looks like and how you avoid losing your armor.
I think it's like you are like once you get an arm, like you do grab me like by the like back of the plate and like pulling me up by my straps. That's where those come in.
Sorry, was this if voice helps add a car, you only mark 1 stress. Oh, wait. Hang on. Yeah, voice, you have a thing.
Oh.
Yeah, when I say someone their pushes only cost 1 stress. Yes, thank you for pointing that out.
Yes, add a car. Your
That's the backup
push.
ability.
Your
Yeah.
push only costs 1 stress instead of 2.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Thank you
Daddy.
for reminding that. Yeah, I didn't read the second sentence.
I forgot about that as well. But hey, that's your job to remind me. So
Yes.
awesome. We did good, team. Cool. Yeah, I'm happy with that, with getting through magical dark forest. I think the rest of it passes
A little more.
less eventfully, all things considered. Silver Surging Tide guides the group through the forest to this clearing. And I think it is a clearing. I think this was the site of this beast, but it's not like, how do I explain this? It's not like a man-made holy site, nor is it exactly the site of a battleground. It's not like a grand battle was fought here. But you come into this clearing, and there is this giant hydra-like monstrosity. It normally would have like the body of a leopard or a jaguar, but its legs are slightly too long for that. And the forward ones end in talons and the back legs end in hooves. It has it has 3 long necks. One is rather serpentine. One is It's a giraffe if a giraffe was described to someone poorly, like a medieval artist's rendition of a giraffe, but nightmarish. And then the last one is also long and I think is just more sort of draconic. It's again sort of reptilian, but this one has these sort of like big Dionysius frill that is currently hanging limp. And it is somehow pinned to this tree via this spear. But I guess paint the scene. There is a conflict here between the holiness of the chosen and the effect of the spear versus the blight of the monster that bled into the land. So pick one of the following. Describe either the effect of the monster's blighted blood leaching out into the space, into this clearing around, or the effect of the Holy Lance having pinned it to the wall for now several years, and the sort of ambient effects of holiness just sort of radiating in this space. Either one of the two. Describe blight or holiness.
For the holiness, the like as you get closer, you hear this like very pure. It's like a tuning fork has been struck. It's just like this clear, constant, pure tone that gets louder as you approach, coming from the spear.
I think the metal parts of the spear also shine with a almost like a reflected light, even though there's no clear light source.
I think you might expect that the blighted blood kills whatever it spills on, but in fact, the grass and plants growing from the underbrush where the blood has spilled grow taller and twisted and thorny.
And I think where the lens has like pinned the shadow, it almost looks like the lens itself is bleeding, and it's this ooze of darkness and light, like almost like a mercury like consistency that's just bleeding and seeping into the ground continuously.
And it almost looks like the beast, the cacophony, as it's called, is sleeping the way it's been pinned there. It's in a sort of dormant or torpor like state. All of its heads are kind of just sort of drooping and limp, and it's, it might be pinned like in its version of the shoulder, or like, in the space, like one of the necks has just been pinned to this tree. But there where its legs are sort of just gathered and jumbled in the sort of cavity in between them is a young woman. Flame red hair. And she opens her eyes when the group of you appear at the edge of the clearing. And she smiles and says, Voyas, I knew you couldn't resist. Let's take a little break. Pop back in about 5 minutes. All right, and we're back. So yeah, Elia is just sitting there in this thing's legs, the way that like a cat sometimes curls up, or a small dog might curl up in between, somebody's legs. But upon seeing the Legion, or upon the Legion's arrival, she stands up and dusts herself off, strangely competent for an undead, or composed, I suppose, for an undead. But you should expect that by now. What do you guys do?
A pair of monsters. I guess they come together, huh?
You wound me.
As you did me.
Do I look like a monster to you? Do I look so terrible, unimposing?
If that you did, that would make it much easier.
I like to think more that I'm an evolution.
And where does this evolution end? In the entire destruction of our society as we know it?
Probably. There are countless animals that no longer exist because nature deemed them unworthy or inappropriate, or they simply had to give way to make way for the new, the improved,
The dead?
tend
I
to follow
don't
the
think so.
living. Fact of the matter is, I'm just better than humans. And if others could share in this joy, in this next step in evolution, you, Boyas, could have been a part of this. You still can.
I want no part of this.
That's a shame.
I think my, as a player, curiosity wants to figure out why she's so normal. Well, not normal, but why she's got her faculties. But Voice, I think, doesn't care. I think he's just pissed.
You can just kill her if you want.
I think I'll draw my weapon and hesitate, of course, because how could I not? Um,
She shakes her head and says, "You're so predictable, you know. The first whiff of a magical monster and a relic weapon. That's why I love you."
I think that is what what gets Voice to take action is the wielding the word love in this state like a weapon. Think uh, I think take a swing, but first maybe signal the squad to action.
So what action would you be signaling them to take?
I think surround both monsters in the clearing. That's the like a circle up while
Hmm?
moving forward
Yeah,
with whatever weapon.
the cacophony is still dormant. You
Yeah.
can surround that easily, and Elia is easily surrounded as well. Do you strike her?
Yeah, I guess what I'm trying to figure out, and maybe the squad, I don't know. Well, Elliot was a surprise. My question is, does anyone on the squad, while Elliot's semi-distracted, go for the cacophony? Or is everyone observing?
I think focusing on what you're focusing on. I think like Adakar's like is ready
Yeah.
to go, but like isn't gonna go until you go.
I
Got
think
it.
Silver will snatch. But I think we should kill the monster first before we get the spear, right? Because that's what's keeping it contained. And if we get the spear, um, the
Yeah.
monster wakes up probably.
That's likely.
Mhm.
But I think I am getting. I'll say that I get it just because I feel like I get in position to do something isn't actionable or interesting. Um, so whether that means like I roll now or when we've dealt with the monster, but I think Silver will get that spear.
Then I guess while Silver is back behind Elia, Voice will take a swing at her. At Elia, to be specific.
She does not dodge or resist. Your blade cuts through her like a hot knife through butter.
Oh, I hate that.
In fact, it's almost as if her undead constitution you know, in the way that like bird bones are more brittle. You would almost expect a certain kind of resistance from your blade. And I don't know which is more surprising, the fact that she doesn't seem to have any survival instinct, and in fact does not flinch when you strike her down, or that it is as easy as it is to just slice right through her. But that's all that takes. Silver, are you taking the spear out?
I mean, I feel like we should kill the monster first.
Agree.
I'm not doing shoot one of its heads.
I mean, because it's dormant and it's pinned, so just kill it, right? Seems silly to give it the ability to move and attack us back.
Yeah.
But I'm not a fighter, so yeah.
I think the moment that you get close, within, you know, a few long strides, there is this sort of like wind in the area that shifts, and you see its nostrils flare. One of the serpent tongue, or the serpent head, like its nostrils widen, and you see that this like tongue as long as a human being is tall sort of like extend and do the snake tongue flick. And it's in your direction. Its eyes open, and it reaches open its jaws to try and snatch at you. And I think it's safe to say that you're far enough away that you can just sort of jump back if you want. Although you're in heavy load, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, that's just not, dodging is never a particularly interesting action.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm perfectly fine saying that like this is just the warning now that it is no longer dormant, that the smell of the living has in fact awakened it from a
Yeah.
When it
long
stretches its head out to go for Silver, but Adhikar takes a swing at it with a curved sword.
fantastic.
It's over here and just like come at it from the side and
Cool. Let's talk about the cacophony.
Yeah.
Cacophony is threat 3.
Mm-hmm.
It is potent, which mechanically translates into it has increased effect. So if you're in a desperate position, or if you're in a risky position and you take consequences, we treat it as one position worse than what you were in terms of, or I increase the tier of, so like a threat or a level 2 harm would be a level 3 harm, if harm is the consequence that you face. It is still, I will say, it is still rooted in position, so it is still stuck to this tree. But it is effectively a hydra and the questing beast all kind of like rolled up in one. It has long necks. It does, and like almost instantly you start to see this sort of like acid dribble, this sort of quicksilver mercury drippings, and where it drips to the ground, it sizzles. Um, but yeah. So this sounds like a skirmish.
It is definitely a skirmish, yeah.
Awesome. Um, you are I definitely think trying to face this thing when it has that kind of reach on you, and 2 additional heads, and an armor that is meant to resist uh uh the blows of mortal weapons. Um, like I think we're starting in desperate limited.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah.
Devil's bargains do we have?
Oh boy. Devil's bargain. Uh, Anybody have any good ideas here? Oh wait, why do I have Adremir's sheet open? That's a different A character. There we are, Adhikar. Um,
I'm thinking, what if no matter what, your like action opens up someone else like behind you to attack from another head?
That makes sense.
Yeah,
I dig that.
I'll even put Silver in that position, right? Because I was trying to get closer.
Right.
So no matter what, like Silver gets snatched. Um, you're not
Wow.
fast enough, or I mean, as in like just damsel in distressy kind. Because I'm not a fighter, I'm not gonna be able to do much here. So that might be a more interesting position for everyone to be in.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
Um,
I'll take that to increase effect.
Devil's Bargains increase of.
Is that
An extra die, I think, right?
just
Yeah.
an extra
Yeah,
die?
I think it's just
Okay.
extra die.
Yeah.
You can push yourself
I think
for
I think
increased effect.
instead then I will push myself for extra effect.
Okay. So we're at Desperate Standard.
Yeah.
Yeah, no matter what, Silver is gonna get snatched by this maw. That's gonna be something someone has to deal with.
Yeah.
Um yeah, and what you're at risk of is this thing another head coming in and biting or possibly like smashing you against the wall. But yeah, crunch.
Crunch. All right. Come on, dice roller. 5.
So you do it, but there are consequences.
Rawr.
And again, this thing is potent. So oh boy. Um I mean, the easy answer here is harm, but the level of harm that it's going to be. Do you have fine armor or just armor? You have just
I
armor.
have
You're a
armor
rookie.
and a shield.
You have armor and a shield. But that's so you're in a desperate position. You're threat 1, it's threat 3. So if this is harm, you're going to take level 6 harm because it's threat 3. You're a rookie with not fine equipment, so you're threat 1. So that increases the situation by 2.
Mhm.
And it's potent, so it increases it by 3. So starting at desperate, which would be level 3 harm.
So armor and shield would take it down to level 4. Is that right?
Yeah.
And then I'll try to resist as well.
Voyus can also step in, and
Voyus?
or anybody else could step in and take the hit for you. Do a get down, Mr. President.
Um, what happens if not is a resist and potentially a death, is that right?
Yep. And it's still going to be armor and shield will bring that level 6 to level 4, which would be death.
Death.
Resisting would take
Okay.
it to level 3, which would be
Need help.
need help. Which would be you cannot operate without assistance.
Okay. I really want to take it, but in some ways I feel like for dramatic effect, because Elia just got like super wrecked at kind of accidentally, like not in a way the voice expected. I feel like voice might be like cradling her severed head for a minute.
Yeah.
But I think because I don't want Adhikar to die right now, we can say that maybe that's what snaps Voyus out of it for a second. And he jumps into harm's way.
Cool. So you will be taking. So instead, Adhikar, you're taking the hit for Adhikar. You do have fine armor though, correct?
Yeah, and I didn't lose my shield.
Correct. So because you have fine armor, it is a difference of threat 1 less. So easy math. Instead of level 6 harm, you'd be taking level 5 harm. You can mark armor to reduce it by a level. You can mark shield to reduce it by a level. Oh, also, wait, you do get something else. Again, what is the backup? Does that give you anything else here?
Backup is +1 die to protect a squad mate on resistance.
Oh, okay, yeah, if you choose to resist. Okay. Yeah, and resisting will uh would be a desperate action, so I think you also get other Zemyati
Yeah.
stuff, but it reduces it by an additional 1. So yeah, you have level 5 harm incoming. What would you like to do?
Yeah, so I reduced it with armor, and I'll mark shield as well, I guess.
Sure. So you're now at level 3 harm.
Yeah. And then I guess all I can do after that is resist, right?
Sounds like, yeah. So be level 2 harm.
And this is a prowess resist?
Yes.
This is on a skirmish. Okay. With 2 bonus dice, 1 for backup and 1 for desperate actions.
Yes.
Okay.
5. So you take 1 stress.
Okay. It's a lot of dice. Okay, 1 stress.
Where are all of your 6s now? So yeah, you take a level 2 harm. Adhikar, you also get your 1 XP for desperate action.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Voyus, yeah, what does that look like?
Yeah, I think it may not have even been the head that Adhikar was attacking, but another one was very clearly coming up, like snaking around behind him. And Voice was like for a second, like lost in a deep well of regret over Elia's remains ? Who knows if she'll stay dead? And just hearing the yell as Adhikar went to strike, moved reflexively and just leapt in the way, shield up. Probably slammed by the head into a tree or something.
Awesome. I'm going to start a 4 o'clock for the snake head because Adhikar, you did succeed. That was a mixed success.
Yeah.
And I'm going to mark 2 ticks on it. Choose side. And snakehead. And you should all be able to see snakehead now. Fantastic. And Silver, you get swiped up by so if the let's say the evil giraffe head is the one that did the slamming, then you might get snatched up instead. Or is it the snakehead? It was probably the snakehead because that was the one that was reaching for you to begin with. So yeah, you get snapped up, and we have a damsel in distress in Silver Surging Tide here, as it sort of like lifts her up. But Adhikar, you do manage to like bite through its head and cause this sort of like this sort of bleeding gash in it. But it's this like quicksilver, this like sort of not quite black but grayish brackish blood that just stinks. You don't want to get it on your skin.
Definitely like scampers back after that. If it bleeds, we can kill it.
Yeah, that's true. And Voyus, you're taking now level 2 harm. Yeah, just battered and bruised. You know, maybe
I
like
just figured it's a
cracked ribs or something. Yeah.
cracked ribs is good.
Yeah. The one we haven't heard from yet is Liam Ryder. Liam, what are you doing, or what are the Ember Wolves here up to now?
I'm very tempted to say that this is a perfect opportunity for him to get that lance for the Legion, since it's distracted.
Sure, if you want to free the monster, why not?
I think he's not he's an asshole, but he's not an idiot. And so I think he does see instead an opportunity to impress here. So with multiple heads already engaged, he's going to try for the body.
Okay.
With his sword.
Alrighty. You have 3 heads that are still all active and bearing down on you. Again, it is potent. Are you going in with the squad or just by yourself?
Oh no, he'll absolutely order the squad as if he has any authority to do that.
Okay. So I mean, yeah, I mean, we can say that you're the squad captain. You're the one. Well, actually, Adhikar was in the front. That doesn't necessarily mean they're the captain. But yeah, if you want to like rally the troops and just lead a squad action, what it would do is it would give you scale because technically you're fighting with 5 a squad against a single entity. Um, or you can go alone.
Alone is more his style. Don't spread out the glory.
All right. Cool. I think attempting to fight a monster, trying to stab its core with 3 heads, all active and still doing stuff. It has a tough hide. It's potent in combat. It can corrupt. Its blood can corrupt if it touches your skin.
Is it
Uh,
technically undead? Like, is it vulnerable to Blackshot?
I
Or do
believe
we know?
that is well. That was something that the commander asked, and it is heavily blighted. Um, whether that actually reacts to Blackshot or not is unknown technically.
Then let's find out.
Okay. So are you
Then
going to
we'll
keep
shoot.
it range or are you going to try and get up there? Because I wonder if this is still a skirmish, because shooting at close range is still would be like, yeah, fire pistols at short range is technically skirmish, but I can see either one, even though you have the same dice in both, so it doesn't
Yeah.
really particularly matter. Um, but it does fictionally. To me, skirmish is always like close range. Shoot is you're staying out of range of potential attacks.
He's going to want to be able to be seen doing this and also be close
Oh.
enough to not shoot or to not miss. So he'll get a little closer.
So remind me again, are you going for the spear or are you just trying to inflict harm?
Let's inflict harm.
Sure. Cool. You're using Blackshot. Um, and you have a musket, it looks like. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So you have it's a single shot musket. Well, yeah, it's single shot. Reloading takes a moment. Um, you're in desperate position just doing this. Uh, Blackshot will be effective. Because in my head at least, Blackshot reacts to blight. Undead is a form of blight. So yeah. You would be at limited. Blackshot will increase it to standard. So you're at desperate standard. You can push yourself for either 1 dice or an effect. If somebody's in fictional position to help, they could do that. Or if somebody feels like they want to help out, they can give themselves a stress and give you an additional die.
Could I try and do a setup here by getting the squad to also fire with a discipline roll?
Sure. We're changing the fiction slightly. If you're taking control, well, I would see martial more than discipline. Unless
It's going for force of personality.
yeah, command obedience using force of personality. Um, Sure. But are we now moving into like setup territory? Instead of like taking direct action, you're trying to rally the troops to do a thing. Although no, let's keep it as, because I just, the more dice we roll, the more we have to have the negotiation. So let's just keep it as direct action, unless you want to make it a setup. What are your thoughts?
I was thinking a setup to try and get the effect to
Gotcha.
right.
Okay, yeah, let's do that then. Cool. So discipline. What could go wrong here? If the thing you're trying to do is command troops with force of personality, the thing that could go wrong here is you make an ass of yourself. It seems that that is the scariest thing to Liam Ryder. Forget harm.
Absolutely.
People will not want to take your commands and see you as a bit of an uppity and an upstart. Does that sound fair?
Yeah. Would that be
Um,
stress or?
I almost feel like it's harm.
Wow.
It's a form of harm, but much like a condition in Carve from Brindlewood games, it would only apply if you continue to try taking like, leadership roles. Does that make sense? You'd have
I think
less
so.
like you'd have like either less effect or minus dice in those situations where that applies. Um
Literal bruised ego.
yeah, yeah. But it won't have an effect if you do like physical actions, if that all
Right.
makes sense. Yeah. Um does that feel fair?
I think so.
Cool. Then yeah. In this case though, are we in a desperate position? I feel like if you're not engaging this thing directly, you're not in a desperate position. I feel like it's still risky. Um, I think there's a standard effect to be had here. So let's call it risky standard. Uh, we know what happens if you succeed. You either get additional position or effect. Um, if anybody else wants to assist, they can do so and give you one die for one stress. Or you can push yourself for an additional die. I'm not sure an additional effect would do much here. I don't know what great effect would look like in this case. Um, or there could be a devil's bargain. Anybody have a good devil's bargain?
What if no matter what, even if it's successful, the rest of the squad, like you spend some of your goodwill trying to discipline them such that they probably aren't likely to follow orders from you
Yeah,
again super soon.
yeah. Since you weren't like the official commander, like who does he think he is?
I like that.
Yeah, this would be more of a soft something, like a note, just a note on your sheet that's like, the Ember Wolves don't trust you, or don't want to
To,
follow your commands.
to go in like a slightly different direction, and it wouldn't be like an immediate thing, it would be basically like a camp phase thing. I think no matter what, like one of the other rookies is like takes an interest in you, like why you think, you have the sort of the right to do this. And when back at camp, they're going to talk to like maybe some other Orites, and like something very embarrassing about you is going to come up. Like either that, your title is amongst Orites actually not that important, or that, I don't know, maybe your family lost a lot of standing that they used to have, like something that you would find extremely embarrassing is going to be known over the
Oh,
whole camp.
I have a similar devil's bargain. In that same vein, no matter what, you're going to get a letter that your brother has died and you're being recalled by your family.
Wow.
Ooh, I kind of have an idea for like a blend of the two of them. What comes out is that he's a bastard. That's the scandal.
Oh.
That's why he's so desperate for this approval.
I'm willing to start with that. I'm willing to make that a devil, give you an extra die for that. Set that in fiction, or set that in stone.
I'll take it.
Awesome. Yeah, just put a note on your sheet that you're a bastard, literal.
Also figurative.
Also figurative. And give yourself an additional die. Doesn't sound like anybody's really champing at the bit to help you out. So if you want additional die, you can push yourself for 1 die for 2 stress.
Can't do that if I'm devil's bargaining.
Oh, that's right. Never mind.
Oh,
So it sounds like it's what you get.
cool. Let's do it. A 4.
You succeed, but there are consequences. So do you see this as improved position or improved effect? It sounds like we're actually doing like a fire for effects coming up. Does that sound right?
Yeah, I was thinking improved effect on the shoot.
Sure.
So
Gotcha. Cool. All right. So yeah, what does this look like? And then I'll figure out what your complication is. How do you rally the troops?
I think he turns to the troops who are all in various degrees of uncertainty, and he'll say, "Are you ember mice or are you ember wolves? Fire! Help them!" And he'll ready his black shot.
Let's move right into that then. This is going to be a shoot action with the squad. Obviously, what I think can go wrong here is if you misjudge the distance, one of these heads can reach you. They are longer than they appear. Or alternatively, it spits acid, and in so doing, in so setting up this shoot, you open yourself up to retaliation. And the squad is going to get hosed with acid. Does that change your
sounds
approach at
right.
all?
No.
Okay. Are you aiming for the body?
Yeah.
Cool.
The heads just regrow.
We think.
Could regrow.
They could regrow. Yeah. Awesome. You have scale. So oh god. Scale improves your effect. However, you are rookies, which means you are threat 1 versus threat 3, which is going to reduce your effect by 1. So you weren't limited, but you're using black shot, so that's at standard. I want to say the scale would increase it by 1, but I almost wonder if I was actually a little too generous to add a car. I wonder if that wouldn't have been limited effect, but rather 0 effects. Ugh. I hate doing math. And also we have folks who have to leave here in about 15 minutes. So we're gonna call this great effect anyways. I think you're still in a risky position because it does have the ability to retaliate. But you're not directly like in the line of all of its fire. So let's call it risky. Great. I'm trying to think if there are any other effects that can go on here. Nope. I mean, obviously, you can get help from other people, but if like the heavy's not really a shooter. Silver is currently damsel in distress. Adhikar is well part of the squad, so I think it's just kind of rolled up in this action.
Can I
So
argue for helping and then I'm snatched up by one of those heads, right? Can we say that like in typical like dark fantasy, I kind of like, like wrestle my way on top of the head and I steer it kind of in the gunfire, potentially exposing myself to harm, but helping in that way where I'm getting this head or like smash it into another one or something where, I'm doing that typical like I'm on top of the dragon, being annoying, getting a knife out and just stabbing it. And it's not doing a lot, but it is distracting it enough that it helps set up for this shot.
Normally, I would say this, this sounds like a setup roll, but with timing and just stuff, I feel like, yeah, give me one, mark of stress, and I'll let you say that, you can give them an extra die here. Because that feels very setty uppy, but time and flow. Yeah. So that's your,
Considering
yeah.
considering the no guts, no glory approach here, could I trade desperate for extreme?
Sure.
They get all ones.
I'm gonna let you know if I'm not even gonna do the math, but if this anything less than a 6, every single rookie is going to die. Every single NPC rookie. Just doing threat math off the top of my head.
Then I won't do that. That's
Well, hold on. Let's make an informed decision here. If the squad takes harm, every level of harm that it would have been is a dead rookie. So if it's desperate, it starts at 3. It's potent, so it would be 4. Uh, and yeah. And the threat delta, meaning it's 2 levels of threat higher than you, would normally be like 6. So I wasn't gonna do math at all, but I feel like in a desperate position, yeah, NPC rookies are gonna die.
we'll leave it at
Which
risky.
which
Great then.
they still are. It's just gonna be a little bit easier to save them. If it's anything less than a 6.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to take the chance of wiping out the whole team. So risky, great, and +1 on a shoot. A 5.
A 5. Um, so you do it, there are consequences. Consequence is going to be harm. And so I think what it looks like is, yeah, you go in and set up this shot, and it rings true. Just straight down the line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pop, 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 pop. Black shot. It reacts. We see these like blossoming holes, almost like a Terminator. The sort of like blossoming Quicksilver craters that sort of like fall into his its body. Um, and because you were shooting at the body, its spitter head sort of like turns its head and just hoses down, shoots in your direction, this sort of like wild pain, this black Icarus acid is going to rain down on the Ember Wolves. um Silver Surging Tide, you mentioned like that you were like gonna try and maneuver the head down and like get it to get in the way. And so I think what happens is you actually kind of get like spat out and like roll down, and either I think you get tossed, actually, is what happens is one of these black shot like hits it behind the eye and it rears up and just yeets you into a tree. So I think you are going to take, uh because you helped, you get to share in the consequences. um so I think here's what I'm going to do. I don't feel like doing math right now. So I think it's going to be, you're going to take level 2 harm getting smashed into a tree, uh and that gives me, I think, 3 more levels of harm to play with. I think a rookie's gonna die. I think yeah, a rookie is going to die. Rookie's gonna get hosed down by the acid and just melt into a puddle.
Can I jump back in and do any protecting, or
You may. And I think Liam, I think since you led the action, I think you are also going to take 2 levels of harm just from being scoured in acid. And because this is a corrupting nature, uh you taking harm is also going to give you 2 levels of corruption.
I'll resist.
Does
Okay.
fine armor block 2 levels of harm?
I believe fine armor increases your I think it Bum, 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 bum. Da, 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 da. Why doesn't the book tell me?
I also have a reliquary with 2 uses that can knock down 2
Corruption.
corruption.
Yeah. So it says in the gear, it says fine, often ornate or dyed, custom for you, but it doesn't tell me what mechanically that means. Usually what it means is your threat is increased.
Okay.
So what I will say is that it automatically reduces the level by 1 because it would reduce the threat against you. So instead you have level 1 harm coming at you.
And then if I mark it, I
if
can
you
block
mark it,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll mark it.
Awesome. Mark that armor. So yeah, we still have a rookie dying, and we have 2 levels of harm coming to Liam. And then Voyus, it sounds like you're gonna step in and take I think it would be it. Oh man, you're gonna make me do math. I'm not doing math. It's just gonna be level 2 harm. I'm just gonna do blanket level 2 harm across the board.
yeah, I think bouncing back from the tree, it was slammed against, barely time to reel. The gunshots go off, jumping right back. Just a meat shield at this point.
That's what heavies do.
Yeah.
Heavies, they put down tower shields and they get in the way and they take hits.
Yeah, and Voice is proud of it.
So yeah, you have level 2 harm incoming. It sounds like Liam, you're going to resist, which will take it down to level 1 harm. This will be a prowess resist. And are you marking armor or are you taking level 1 harm?
I will also mark armor.
Awesome. So you mark armor. So your armor, you might have to do that thing where it's like it starts to burn on your body and you just have to take it off as fast as possible. Before it starts burning you as well.
But I'll mark my shield instead. Same effect, but
yeah,
a little more dignity.
And yeah, I'm going to need this is a prowess action, so probably a prowess resolve makes the most sense to me.
And I got a 6.
And the 6 is return. And Voyus, what are you doing? You have level 2 harm incoming. Are you just gonna take it on the chin, or are you going to?
I'll resist.
Okay. You are protecting a squad mate, so you get an additional 1 die. It was not a desperate action, it was a risky action.
Right.
And it's a prowess resist, so it'll be plus 1
Yep.
prowess.
Okay. I think that's still 4 dice.
Good lordy. So it's now level 1 harm. You have heavy stuff though. You have heavy plates, which you can mark a second time. That's what the heavy dot is there.
I see. Okay. Then if I mark it a second time, does that just take it down to nothing?
Yeah.
Cool, yeah. I guess I'll mark it.
Or you can take, level 1 harm. That's fine. But no. Awesome. Great effect. I think I was gonna start like a 4 o'clock for different chunks of body. And since you didn't go to extreme, I'm gonna say there's still like a little something you have left to do. Like it's it's reeling and it's bleeding everywhere. Um, and how do you want to like try and finish this thing off?
Look at something very quickly.
Where is it? Where is the spear in it? Like in its
Uh, I had it vaguely envisioned, like, I don't know, I'm thinking Hollywood terms. So whatever this thing's like a shoulder would be.
right,
So it's like it's effectively its body is pinned, but it could theoretically like reach you with talons if you got close, or it could like reach its head around. But the vertex point is anatomically, if it were a human, somewhere in this like upper clavicle area. Unless was there a better idea that you had?
No, I was just trying to get a good picture of where that was.
I think I just want to take a solid swing at whichever of its maybe where one of its heads meets that clavicle. See if we can free up the area around the spear so it can be immediately not freed, but like dug deeper almost.
Sure. And A, for timing's sake, and B, I've got, like I said, not really an invisible clock going on, but just imagining a 4 segment clock for like the main body. Also, just in general, filling up enough clock segments.
Yeah.
If it was it would be 5 ticks on the clock. So if we do 3 more ticks, if we do a great effect, I'll just say that it's dead. That this will kill it, that we're in range. Because that would be a good little 8 clock. So yeah, are you going up by yourself? Are you going to use the Ember Wolves? Are you going to tell them draw swords and rush in?
Yeah, I think seeing that they've been working as a team all right so far, give or take, it'll be a let's all go.
Cool.
It's a strike team situation.
Yeah, let's get it.
Group action. Either Marcher Lord or Adakar, you can roll for the Ember Wolves, whoever has the higher. This sounds like a skirmish. I don't know what else it could really. Although, here's the thing. As you run up towards it, this corrupting blood is one going to start spraying at you guys. And it's going to be something where, like, if you want to try and hack this thing to pieces, uh, you're going to have to contend with that. And its blood is corrosive. You have these heads you have to deal with. So I could see skirmish applying here, a group skirmish. I could also see a group maneuver applying here. There might also be other ways to negotiate it that I can't think of because I'm not that creative, but those are the two that come to my head.
I'd advocate for, if I'm doing the rolling, I have 2 in skirmish.
Yeah, skirmishing is better for me too.
Oh, well then let's call it a group skirmish. Adakar or Liam, or who is taking the role for the Underwolves?
I'll take it.
Okay. Same effect either way. It's just whoever's dice drop on the table. It is still desperate. You're fighting against a multi-headed being. You're getting in close, which is where it wants to be. It has corruptive blood, so you're no matter what, you're in a desperate position. It has a thick hide, so you would normally be at limited effect. You're not using anything like Black Shot to sort of like offset that. And while Voyus has what?
Can we like, since it's pinned, step back a moment and like, would it be possible to like break open our cartridges and like sprinkle them on our swords before going in?
Got a wrecking kit, hammers and mallets and stuff. Crack them open.
And,
Sure, let's.
they wouldn't be good for long-term battle, but like for a hit, I feel
Yeah.
Gunpowder axe.
Yeah, now it almost sounds like we're doing a couple different things. It sounds like we have Voice who wants to sort of like shell crack it a little bit with the wrecking kit. Maybe find a gap in its armor. And Adhikar wants the Ember Wolves to sort of coat their weapons. This might be a time buying thing, and it might be worth like a setup action for Voyus to do like a setup wreck, to sort of punch through its armor a little bit. Does that all sound fun and juicy?
Yeah.
It does. I was saying we can use the hammers to crack open the black shot, but sure.
Oh.
Oh,
Yeah. You still have this thing spitting acid at you. So it's not going to be
Probably
something
better
that
to,
you,
yeah.
yeah, I don't know if you can like pull back, be like, guys, let's regroup. Well,
Right.
you know, why not? Guys, let's regroup, get out of its range a little bit, you know, tend to your wounds, you know, give yourselves this, you know, bless your weapons with black shot alchemical residue. Um Though part of me is like, why hasn't the Legion done this before? Also, we are coming up on time, so let's you know what? Let's fast forward through all that. Never mind the setup action. Let's get straight
Skirmish.
to the part where we get, you know, a group skirmish on the table.
Yep.
So it's still going to be desperate because you're still wanting to get in close with this thing. Voice sounds like it's going to lead the charge. We are at its desperate position. You would start at limited. You have scale, so you go to standard. You have black shot, or you're going to use your black shot here. That'll push it up to great, which is what I said will kill it. So we're at desperate great. Silver, you're kind of standing off the side. Is there anything you want to do to like help out here? Or do you want to participate in this as well?
I only have one skirmish, so I don't know if that's useful. I think maybe because it's sort of the big ending, maybe what could be interesting is like you're all trying to kill it, and I think we're sort of timing it that at the exact moment, maybe Silver is like getting in and grabbing the spear, and we're sort of timing it that way. So I'll be like maneuvering, but we don't need to have
Yeah.
another roll for
Do you just
that,
want
I
to give yourself a
think.
stress and help the group out?
Yeah.
Sure. Give yourself a stress, and who wants that extra bonus die? Would that be Adhikar or
I'll take it, yeah.
Voyas?
Yeah.
Adhikar, you can take it. We'll give you a bonus die. All right. Voice Adhikar, load up Desperate Great Skirmish. And I don't think there's any devil's bargains to be had here. We've got our helps on the table. If either of you want to push for 2 stress, go for it or roll them.
Got a 4.
And a 4. Interesting. Desperate, it's potent. We have rookies involved. Voyus is going to take Voyus, you're threat 2. It's threat 3 and potent. So we have a delta of 2, desperate position for 3. You'd be taking level 5 harm.
Anchor is just for scale, not for threat, right?
Yes, but if you, oh wait, yeah, but if you spend a point of anchor, I'll let you drop it to 4 just because I don't want to look up the nitty gritty of the go right now.
Yeah.
But you still have level 4 harm coming in. We'll talk about the rookies. I
I
think
do have one other level 4 harm question, which is can I retcon using the heavy box to guard from a level 1 and instead retroactively take the level 1 and use this to make it a level 3? So I'll just have 1 of every level of harm.
For timing reasons, yeah, I'll say yes.
Okay. Lots of harm.
Yeah. And you can also resist as well.
That's true.
And you've got a pretty good prowess resist. So what is that now? Level 3 harm?
I'll just resist for the level 3 and I won't retcon any of the whatever. Just
Okay.
leave it at that.
Toss me a prowess resist really quickly.
And this was not defending anybody. So just regular 3
No,
dice.
Yeah. You'll take 2 stress, which maxes you, but doesn't trauma you out yet.
Okay. Phew.
Also, because there's possible corruption here, so it'd be level 3 harm, and you're gonna take level 3, 3 levels of corruption.
Okay.
As just this like blood, you have to get in there, and it's just like it's over you, and it doesn't burn the way that like acid necessarily does. But you can feel just like this unclean sort of paint spread through your body. Liam and Adhikar, I think you're also, so you guys are rookies, threat 1. But I think Voice is taking the brunt of it, because Voice kind of up there first. So it's potent. I'm gonna say the potency is taken by Voice. But just in general melee, like, yeah, I feel like we're just gonna start at call it level 3 harm for each of you.
Cool. I'm gonna burn my armor and shield, take it down to 1.
Okay. And you can resist if you want, but that might kill you.
I think I'll take that.
Okay.
I do have 5 dice in prowess resist.
But
Because
do you
I'm
really want to tempt it for the
so-
last roll?
a
You know,
little bit.
go. Well, if you
Yeah,
want to
I think I
resist.
do. I think I do.
Okay.
Yeah, let's resist.
Stolen
it.
car, baby.
6s. Double 6.
So a crit actually means you
Boom, clear
lose 1
stress.
stress.
There we go. He is wading into battle and loving it.
Incredible. Well, that's why you're a played character in this. Liam?
I will also mark my armor and resist. Double crit.
There you go.
roll 20 dice roller continues to be the roll 20 dice roller. You lose 1 stress, in fact. If you had any, I don't know.
I did just 1, so.
Well,
But I
there
still
you
take
go.
one harm.
And I feel like I have to respect the dice roller at this point. And yeah, I don't know how much time you guys have. I don't want to keep anybody over. But if you want to do just like a quick little, how do you do this? How do you want to do this? Everybody can chime in on their combat contributions.
Yeah, I mean, for Adhikar, that's just like really disregarding everything and just hacking in, like getting corrosive goo all over his shit as it it comes apart, and just putting in the work.
Awesome.
I think you can see Liam doing a bit of mental calculation. He wants to take the last hit. He wants to be the one that kills it, but there's a gout of acid, and there might be someone at my door. And he has to back off.
Mhm. I think just in the melee, just it's who gets the killing blow is hard to say. By the time it stops moving, everyone is just covered in this like sort of corrosive goo. Everyone has been hacking at the heads, and to pull out of like D&D style combat, like we're summarizing a whole lot of actions. See ya, Ben. Do your XP. Awesome. But we'll go ahead and say that this is a wrap. I think somebody who pulls the spear out. Is it Voyas?
Yeah, it's got to be.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. And the cacophony just sloughs to the ground, now more sort of a puddle, and I think it even begins to like goopishly begin dissolving, like begin eating itself, or like there's these sort of like pustulant greenish silverine like boils that begin to press up between some of its scales. It's not a place you want to linger. Anything else anybody wants to do before we call it the end of the mission?
I think that's it. That's good.
Awesome. Let's move into XP. starting with our scouts. You survived. Did you help your squad through stealth or foresight?
Does the scouting and like knowing the terrain?
Yeah, absolutely it does.
Yeah.
Did you bring into play your heritage or trauma?
My heritage with how the forest magic was different than it should be,
Love
and
it.
like navigating in the darkness.
And the cacophony is threat 3. So that is 6 XP for you. Ben played Boyus and is not here. So we move into the Ember Wolves. We have Marcher Lord, Liam Ryder. You survived. Did you help your squad by staying out of the way or surviving despite the odds? Generally speaking, if there was a threatening situation and you survived, that typically applies.
Yeah, I feel didn't stay out of the way, but did roll 2 good resists.
And you survived despite the odds. The odds were pretty severe. A lot of damage occurred. So you have 2. Did you bring in player heritage or trauma?
I think the noble bearing came through, the sternness.
Yeah, absolutely. We got to, well, yeah, we got to talk about you being a bastard. So yeah, we'll call it there. And Cacophony is 3 XP, so 6 to you. And Adhikar.
Yeah, I think same. Survived despite the odds, and I was stoic and brought that in there.
Awesome. 6 XP to you. Other people said they had to leave, right? So probably best to go into stars and wishes here. Yeah. Star to you guys for bringing in Voyus, so I got to bring in Elia. That was super fun. I Star to Ben for taking this new rookie, Marcher Lord Liam, and I feel like we already know so much about him. It's amazing how in such a short time we can go from having only seen like 1 or 2 moments with this character to now being like he's got history, he has personal conflicts, he has stuff bigger and beyond the Legion. That's really fun. Adhikar, I really loved your descriptions of like being a Barton. Your response to that question that I had about like the difference between Barda and this spooky forest was really fun. But also Star to Silver Surging Tide is in trouble. I'm gonna go in and attack this giant thing. I wonder, like I feel like there's something there. I don't know. Maybe there is. But I'm like, that's curious and interesting. Did I not project how dangerous this thing is? Is Adhikar just a silly man? Is he
I was
is
like, I'm here to kill stuff. So let's. Oh no! Oh no! Okay,
yeah,
let's
yeah.
do it.
Listen, we've set a little bit of a precedent now. And also, Jazzy, what was the thing that you were like, oh, the shippers are going insane? Oh, it was the Jack and Rose moment from with the shield. Ben is not here, but yes, the shield moment was really as much as I was like, I just kind of wanted a little bit more explanation for that. Cause I'm like surfing in a static situation. I'm like, that's a choice, but let's see if we can leverage that. But that was a really fun moment. And yeah, Silver really helping me out like sell Magical Forest with those questions about Panya uh and yeah, the responses there were great. Also volunteering to be a damsel in distress was really fun. Set up some really cool stuff. And I struggle sometimes with the level of granularity and the level of cinematicness that this game seems like it wants to have, but then it seems to also fight against. So just that moment of being like, hey, can I do this cool thing where I hit the monster and make it swing its head into the area and that could be a help die? I'm like, sure, that's cool. That's cinematic as fuck, let's roll with it. So that was a really cool moment that I want to give a star to as well. Wishes. I don't know. I love the Ember Wolves. They're really fun. Uh, I kind of want to see more of this Liam Ryder family drama now. I obviously more Voyus and Elia is going to always be my thing. Um, and yeah, just can't wait for the next campaign phase in general. So I think that's what I got.
Yeah. Star for Mark. I really love the contrast between Liam and Adhikar because I feel like Adhikar is who Liam thinks he is. Like Adhikar, like having that moment where, oh, you see you're a specialist in danger who, sort of by the hierarchy of the military is like, you're superior, and immediately being like, yeah, I see her get snatched, but I can fight it. And like having that bravery and like jumping in, whereas like Liam is just like so concerned with looking brave, he isn't actually acting brave. I think that was a really cool like that came in out in like really cool little moments. um I love to like being claustrophobic in the forest because you're not used to it. I loved Liam being a little bitch to a child. That's very funny. Just immediately set the tone for who this person is. Also for Kevin, like, love me a creepy child. Always incredible to just be like, hey, this is a fucked up place, and you know it because a child is here. And now it's bad. Um, that was great. Um, yeah, I've been just the way that you play, like just a commitment to the bit. The line, are your ember mice or ember wolves? Totally fucking crack me up. That was hilarious. That was so good. And just yelling his way into respect is very funny. And then having that, taking that devil's bargain, like really added an extra layer, which is both my star and sort of my wish. I hope, or like I want to try and get more of that type of devil's bargain in the game because I feel like, like no matter what, you lose equipment or you get hurt, like that's fine. It's mechanically sound, but it doesn't usually make for a super interesting story to me. Whereas even though it's like a delayed consequence, something like, oh, the camp's gonna know, daddy slept around, whoops. um, that is more interesting to me, or I'm almost now, like, should I go back to my rookies and give them like a trophy like drive so we can use that against them? Um, or like just wanting to see if we can explore more of that. I think it's difficult sometimes because the missions are quite separated from us as people. So it might require a little bit more of a buy-in, like this happens so we go back at camp and it's not an immediate consequence, but I think that could be really cool for like further story. um yeah, yeah, that's my biggest wish, to use the mission phases as an exploration of characters in like Devil's Bargains and in more of that sense.
This was a lot of fun. Cool to see this kind of big monster and how the group had to work together. Mostly Voyus having to clean up after us to take it down. It was fun. I enjoy the Ember Wolves too. It's like they came in as kind of a B team in the last couple of sessions, and it's interesting to build them out a little bit and see what makes them tick and what they actually bring to the Legion as a whole. So a wish is more Ember Wolves, I guess, without hopefully the more being their deaths. But yeah, this was fun. I really enjoyed the way that everyone was kind of trying to tackle things from not the direct go in with guns and swords, like putting the black shot on the weapons and silver surging tide getting in there as kind of a distraction, a squeaky toy for the monster while we, dealt with it. And yeah, getting Elia in play again, even if it was, I guess, not entirely unexpected given Voyus and the connection there, but it's always fun to see that, and the use of "I love you" as the kind of the weapon that it was very potent, and I'm looking forward to seeing Voyus suffer more for stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, this was a lot of fun. The sort of the ramp up into the forest was really evocative and cool. Yeah, loved Liam being a dick the entire time in both visible and invisible ways. That was super good. Really enjoyed seeing our new knight being knightly and just getting the shit beat out of him for everyone's sake. And yeah, this is silver going in first and getting got first. So many good moments. Y'all hit so many of them already. And yeah, Kevin for making that feel fucking dangerous. Yeah, it was a very different vibe from like working against a bunch of undead who are maybe intelligent and have tactics but are like it's still like fighting an army. This was a monster that was still a beast, even though it was pinned down. So that was cool. I was fully expecting to die, but didn't. So next time maybe. Yeah, wishes. Yeah, what about specific ones? Yeah, just keep on trucking.
Oh wait, that's all of us that are here. Awesome, fantastic. Well, I will see you all. Yeah, math, the enemy. Truly the worst part of this game is trying to do consequence math. Um, that's why I'm just like, fuck it. Everybody takes level 2 arm. I don't care. Deal with it. There might be a better way to do like quick thinking, but I don't know what it is yet. So that'll come with practice. But yeah, no, it still felt like a dangerous monster.
Yeah.
And again, if I had done the threat math, it might have hit even harder. People would probably be dead. Do I really care? Not really. So, but it felt scary, and that's what we were going for. So, and yeah, I'll see you all next week. Hopefully the same time in Bat Channel. And until then, enjoy the rest of your gaming week.
Thank you. Bye.